Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Blandina. I am a registered dental hygienist and dental therapist. I work here in England, the United Kingdom. In today's video, I would like to discuss how an overseas dentist or dental professional can be registered and work legally here in the UK. There is a way of getting registered, and today we're going to discuss that. Firstly, you might be wondering, why would the UK want to register overseas dentists? At the moment, the UK is experiencing a shortage of staff within the dental profession. That's including dentists and dental professionals, hygienists, dental therapists across the whole board. So the dental services is willing to employ overseas dentists as long as they're legally registered, they're legally trained, and as long as they pass the exam, then they can work within the NHS dental services and across the private sector as well. You're wondering, how can you register if you're a dentist? So from last year, 2024 March, there was a rule that was passed that a dentist, an overseas dentist, can no longer work in the United Kingdom as a dental hygienist or a dental therapist. So if you're registered, your qualification, you've been registered as a dentist in your country, you can no longer work here in the United Kingdom as a dental care profession. In the past, there was a path for dentists who were registered in their countries, who were trained, qualified, and had dental degrees. They could come into the UK and qualify, register through the General Dental Council, and they would be working as dental care professionals, as hygienists or therapists, whilst they were awaiting their examinations to be qualified as dentists to work here in the United Kingdom. Now that path closed in 2024 on the 7th of March of 2024. Now, if your application was put through before this date, then yes, your case would be considered. But anyone else applying after this date, your application will not be considered, and the GTC has stated that your application would be safely destroyed, or all your certificates or passport, anything that was supplied will be returned safely to yourselves. For all this information, I've actually written an ebook. I've provided all this information and more details in my ebook. If you want to get one of these ebooks, it's available on my website. I'll put a link over here. You can tap into the link, and again, look at the description below. I'm going to put my ebook linked so you can have all the information there for you. This was a brief overview, but in my ebook, I've explained everything in details. So have a look on the link above, and again, check the description below. Once this path closes, it means from the 7th of March going forward, dentists that were qualified in their countries have to apply and work here in the UK. They can only work as dentists, or if they prefer to work as trainee dental nurses, they can do that and work as trainee dental nurses whilst they're awaiting the results of the exams. If they would want to maybe gain a bit more knowledge, a bit more experience of working in the UK dentistry, then this can be another good way of gaining experience. Now, once this path closed, overseas trained dentists can no longer apply to work as dental care professionals, for example, as a dental hygienist or as a dental therapist. This path closed in March of 2024. However, the General Dental Council does recognize some qualifications. If you are an overseas dentist from the European Economic Area, the EEA, you can be registered and work here in the UK as a dentist without the need of any dental exams, and this will go on until 2028. Again, if you're an overseas qualified outside of the United Kingdom, in certain countries, the GDC does recognize your qualifications. To summarize, if you are an overseas dentist qualified in the European Economic Area or Switzerland, again from other countries, then the GTC does recognize some of the countries, the EEA and Switzerland. They recognize your qualification if you qualified before 2021 from different areas, but this will only go ahead up until 2028. Now, for dentists that are not qualified in the EEA or in Switzerland or some other countries that are recognized by the GTC, they have to sit an exam here in the UK in order to be qualified to register under the General Dental Council, the GDC. Now, the GDC is a regulatory body of all the dentists within the UK. You cannot practice here in the UK if you're not registered by the General Dental Council. And if you try and go and find work, your employer will ask you to obviously provide them with your GDC registration. Otherwise, you will not be offered any of your work. So it's very important to be registered with the General Dental Council. Otherwise, you won't be able to work here in the United Kingdom. So in order to practice in the UK, you have to sit an exam. And there's two types of exams here in the UK. The one exam is called the ORE, is the Overseas Registration Exam. And then there's another exam called the LDS, which is provided by the Royal College of Surgeons, is the license in dental surgery. Another type of registration is the temporary registration. Under the temporary registration, you can be registered to work here in the UK under supervision, and these are within teaching and research posts, maybe working in a university or a teaching career. You can be able to register temporarily as long as you're under supervision. You can also register temporarily to work under the NHS as long as you've been given offered work and you're under supervision and it's a temporary post for a certain length of time. You can be registered temporarily. And temporary registration does not provide full registration. You still have to obviously gain your qualifications and sit the exam, either the ORE as discussed or the LDS exams, in order to be registered as a dentist to qualify to work here in the United Kingdom. If unfortunately you do not pass your exams, then you're given a chance to resit your exams and again sit again and hopefully pass on your next sitting. Meanwhile, you can still practice and work in a dental practice. You could find work as a trainee dental nurse. You could maybe work as a receptionist. You can find any administration work if you've been offered the vacancy and you've got the right papers to work here, the visas to work here in the UK. Then you could work meanwhile whilst you're waiting for to sit your exams, and a lot of dentists do that as well. So in order to sit the ORE exam, you need to apply through the General Dental Council, and the General Dental Council has all the forms, all the information needed for you in order to be registered here legally, and they'll be able to set up your exam, dates and timings, and the fee that needs to be paid. For the practical ORE exam, at present it's almost at £3,000. But at a certain point, it will go up to £4,000 in 2025. So all this registration can be done. Application forms can be obtained by going through the GDC website. They will go through information that will assess your qualifications and also go through forms, assessments to obviously lead you through to take the examination with the application fee. The ORE exam is divided into two parts. There's part one, which consists of a part A and a part B, and there's a part two. The part A of the exam, part one of the exam is mainly a theoretical based exam. And the part two is more a practical based exam, which you'll be able to do. You're required to do some restoration, some filling, some treatment over 3 hours. And then you do an OSCE exam at the end, and that's your part two. The part one is more theory based, multiple choice questions, and a theoretical computer based exam. If you're not a dentist, but you're a dental care professional in your country, you're qualified as a dental hygienist or a dental therapist, or you're qualified maybe as a clinical lab technician, an orthodontic therapist, you can still get registered here in the UK. What you have to do is register again with the General Dental Council. You can go on the General Dental Council website, fill in the forms, they'll ask you all your qualifications, where you trained, all of that, and you can fill that information in. The GDC will then ask you for all the necessary documents. They will ask so they can assess your qualifications, your experience, and your training. Once they're happy with all the information you've provided, then they've assessed your individual case basis and the content that you're very experienced, you're a qualified dental hygienist or dental therapist. Then they will issue you with your GDC registration number. You'll be registered and ready to work in the UK as a dental care professional registered by the General Dental Council. The GDC will ask for some documents to be submitted in order for you to be registered, to be assessed for registration with the GDC. So these are the character reference form. They'll ask for your learning outcomes form, copy of your dental qualification certificate, certified copy of the syllabus, your curriculum from your overseas university, a certified copy of your transcript or marked sheets for your course, evidence of relevant training courses and your CPD that you've done, evidence that you have the required English language standard necessary for registration. The English standard registration is very important. Professional references professional references from your employer, certified copy of your valid passport, clearly showing your photograph and personal details, as well as the expiry date of your document, passport size photograph of yourself that has been signed on the back of your character reference, certification of your professional standing, so certificate of good standing, certified copy of your change of name document. If you change your name, a document to prove that. If you're married, a marriage certificate. Translations of your documents which are not issued in English. You have to provide them with a transcript and translations of your qualifications if they're not in English, and one photocopy of your application. Then a photocopy of your whole application. So hopefully this helps. If you're a dental care professional, these are the documents you need to submit for the DTC to be registered. And again, as a dentist overseas, I hope I've answered your questions as to how you can get registered here in the UK to work legally. Thank you. For all this information, I've actually written an ebook. I've provided all this information and more details in my ebook. If you want to get one of these ebooks, it's available on my website. I'll put a link over here. You can tap into the link and again, look at the description below. I'm going to put my ebook linked so you can have all the information there for you. This was a brief overview, but in my ebook, I've explained everything in details. So have a look on the link above and again, check the description below for the link. Thank you.